One to Dan Bressler, one of our crowd favorites, and Dan's going to be covering Microsoft Teams for us today. Dan, I'm going to go ahead and make you the presenter, and we'll see how that goes.
All right.
Whoops, I hit the wrong button. I muted you instead, sorry.
You muted me.
Yes, I didn't mean to. We can never silence you. You could not be quieted. And we see your screen. I'm out of here. Have a good meeting.
Great. Which screen do you actually see? The PowerPoint or my
PowerPoint agenda?
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
perfect.
All right. Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Microsoft Teams webinar. I'm really excited to do this seminar because I have been immersing myself in Microsoft Teams for quite a while now, ever since the lovely COVID pandemic took effect. We've had a lot of our attorneys and even a lot of our staff working remotely. And unfortunately, there was a scramble to try to get things created so that they could work remotely, communicate with the people in the office and across the firm. Microsoft Teams came to the rescue, and it is one of the best applications that I've ever had to train on. Microsoft Teams can do so much. I could spend hours on all of the aspects that Microsoft Teams can do, but our focus today is only going to be one aspect of Microsoft Teams, and that is how to do successful meetings. A lot of you may have already attempted to do a meeting in Teams, maybe kind of crashed and burned. Some of you have done it successfully, but maybe next time you want to learn how to do it with more confidence. You want to be able to set up all of the settings that you need beforehand so that you are confident that your meeting will go well. So that's what this is all about. And as Terry said, I do have a handout. It kind of looks like this. It's very, very easy to read. I'm a more visual person, so I like to put graphics in the handouts with labels to show you exactly what you're looking at. So as you can see on the screen, there are a lot of pages on how to do certain things about how to do meetings in Teams. A lot of the items in the handout are going to be covered today in our session, but I'm going to give you some tips and tricks and some shortcuts too that might help even better so you guys can look like champions when you create a meeting in Teams. Whether you're doing it for yourself or for another person, I'm going to show you all the ins and outs from soup to nuts, from top to bottom, what you need to do. Now, I just want to get rid of this PowerPoint real quick and show you the things that we're going to cover, because I've got a lot to go over and I don't want to waste any time. So I'm going to do a real short slide and then get right into Teams. So after the seminar is over, you're going to know how to conduct virtual meetings with colleagues and clients, whether they're in your organization or outside your organization. I'll show you how to send out a Teams meeting from Outlook. Everybody who's got an Office 365 license can do this, whether you have to have Microsoft Outlook, obviously, and also a Microsoft Teams Office 365 license as well. This will work perfectly. Then I'll show you how to manage your meetings and control the settings. This is one of the important parts about our seminar today. Some of the settings throw people off, and I'm going to show you everything you need to know about that. I'll show you how to present content like a pro by sharing your screen content, whether it's a PowerPoint, whether it's your entire screen, or if you just want to put a whiteboard up on your screen so people can draw, maybe a flow chart you're working on, you're brainstorming, you want people to draw or type in some ideas, you can do that in Microsoft Teams. And then finally, ensure that your audio and video devices are working. That's kind of important, especially if you're holding a meeting where you're speaking. If you guys couldn't hear me or see my screen today, we'd kind of come at an impasse because we wouldn't be able to present. So I'll show you how to do all of that and set up your microphone and your video and even check it right before your meeting starts. And that's pretty much it. That's what we're going to cover today. So let me just get rid of the PowerPoint and jump right into Microsoft Teams. Except, wait a minute, you see Outlook on my screen, right? Well, I did that on purpose because, like I said, I'm going to show you how to create a Teams meeting directly from Microsoft Outlook. It's one of the easiest ways to do it. I think it's going to be the way that you might choose to do it forever and ever and ever, but you can do it through Teams as well. And I'm going to be showing you both ways to do that. So like I said, if you have an Office 365 license, you have a Microsoft Exchange server in your organization, you have Outlook, and you also have Microsoft Teams, you should see this little button right up at the top. This is the new Teams meeting button. And you're only going to see it if you're accessing your Outlook calendar first. If I go back to my inbox, that button disappears. It's not there anymore. So you have to go to your calendar first in order to see it. And there it is. So what I'm going to do is click the new Teams meeting button, and it opens up a calendar appointment, just like you are used to in Outlook, right? Except this one, look at the bottom. It actually shows you and contains all of the necessary information for all attendees, including you as the organizer, how to get into the meeting. It's all done. You don't have to do anything. Like GoToMeeting, sometimes you have to copy and paste, or you have to go to their website and you have to copy the invitation, paste it into an email. No more. Microsoft Teams allows you to automatically have that information embedded in the body of the message. Now, I just want to talk about this real quick because there's a lot of links here, and I want to make sure everybody's up to speed as to what they do. Let me try that again. Here we go. All right, so first you have the click here to join the meeting. Easy peasy, right? Everybody gets the invitation, they click the link, bada bing, bada boom, the meeting started. That's it. That's all there is to it. You might have to install a little tiny plugin before you access it if you've never done a Teams meeting before, but it's very, very simple and mostly automatic. Now, down here is call-in information. This is if people are going to call in using a telephone or their iPhone, Android, tablet with cellular, anything that has the ability to make a call, they can tap on this link. It's called a one-click link. And what it does is it dials the number for that conference, and then it dials the conference code. Now, this question always comes up in my sessions. What in the world, why is it separated with 2 commas down here? Well, I did a little research and I found out that the reason for the commas is because every telephone system known to man recognizes the comma character as a 5-second pause. So it's not going to dial the number and the conference code all together. If it did that, you'd have an error. It'd say invalid conference code, or you'd get all these strange errors on your phone call. So what it does is it dials the number when you tap on this link, and then it waits at least 10 seconds, giving the conference call an opportunity to allow you to type in the code. And then it automatically puts in the code and the # for you. So that's a one-click link. I love that, especially if you're on the road or if you're not able to, dial a phone, or maybe you just want to make it easier for yourself. Use this link to tap and it instantly accesses the conference code. No manual entry required. Now, we did have a situation in one of our offices. One of our attorneys had to make a conference call with a couple of people in Korea, North Korea. Well, they're not going to dial this number because, holy cow, the long distance bill would be astronomical. So what they can do is find a local number in their country, and it would actually bring up every country's local number that they can use instead of the long distance number up at the top. Then there's a reset pin link. This is only for the organizer and only if you're joining the conference code by telephone. You do not need a pin if you're going to join the meeting with this link right here, because it automatically just gets you in. It uses your audio from your computer and it shows your screen if you want to share content. But the reset pin is only to use if you do a telephone conference, because you will be prompted on the telephone. If you are the organizer, please enter your PIN number. If you do not know your PIN, that's exactly what this link is for. It will generate an automated random PIN for you that you can remember for all future conferences and use that to get into the meeting as an organizer. There's also a meeting options link down here, but I'm going to show you a different way to get to that. It's much easier, so just ignore that for now. I did want to mention another thing about conferences. A lot of people have asked me, what about security? If I keep sending a link to a meeting and I use the same number and the conference code, isn't that leaving people open to being able to join the meeting accidentally and joining a meeting that's currently in progress coincidentally? The answer is absolutely 150% no, and I'll show you why. First, the first layer of security is the fact that if you look at the link to where it says click here to join the meeting, watch this. I'm going to hover over it and look at that. I hope you can see it. It's really, really tiny on my screen, but it is a random generated code for the meeting. Every time you create a new Teams meeting, that code is completely different. That's why there's so many characters. So it won't run out of random combinations. So that's your first layer of security. Second layer of security, you see this conference code right here, 664-473-472. Actually, it's bigger down here. You might see it better at that point. Watch this. Remember that number. Just remember either the first 3 digits or the last 3 digits. Watch. I'm going to close the meeting, and I'm going to do another one. See? Check out the code now. Completely different. So even if somebody were to be able to access the link that they had before, and even if they had the phone number that they called in before, that's something that does not change for you as the organizer. The conference code does. So it is completely secure. There's no reason to worry about people being able to join a meeting that you sent, 2 or 3 weeks ago. That's the security of Microsoft Teams. All right, so now you would do the normal thing in an Outlook calendar invitation. You'd put in your title. You'd put in who's required. I'll just put in some people inside our organization. There we go. You can also invite people outside your organization. So I'll put my outside Roadrunner email address and my Gmail account. There we go. So you can invite anybody you want. Everybody will be able to access the Teams meeting. It doesn't matter if they have Teams or not. It uses a web-based version of Teams if they do not have the Teams application installed on their desktop or laptop. There's also a Teams app, as you probably know. You can download that for your phones, your tablets, whatever you want, and it will allow you to access Teams anywhere in the world. Now, if the Teams desktop app is not installed on the attendee's machine, they might not have some of the capabilities, like being able to share content. But that's just part of the Office 365 licensing that you need in order to share content. All right, and then you set your date and time. Everything's pretty similar to that, and you would hit send. Now, I'm not going to do that because I don't want these people to think that this is an actual meeting, but I am going to focus in up here on this button right up top, the magical settings button. Oh, this is the button that's going to allow you to set up the meeting options so that you don't run into issues at the start of your meeting. Here are some of the settings. So I'm going to go up to meeting options here. And I'm going to give you another piece of information about Microsoft Teams. Microsoft, in their infinite wisdom, absolutely loves to keep us on our toes when it comes to features in Microsoft Teams because they change things every week. It seems like every week. I know Terry knows this because we're trying to create documentation on Microsoft Teams. And as soon as you're finished creating documentation on Teams, they go and change something. And you got to update your documentation. So it's almost impossible to keep up with the changes that they make. So I'm going to give you the caveat of, I'm going to show you some features here today, but next week when you open Teams, it might look completely different, or you might have new features, or maybe some features have moved. So that's not our fault. I'm going to blame that 100% on Microsoft. So here's some of the options I want to discuss. First of all, there's something called the lobby. The lobby is a holding place. You actually, before this meeting, you were placed into a virtual lobby before the meeting started. When it started, Terry let you in and you left the lobby and bam, you all were part of the meeting. Teams has the same thing. So let's say that you wanted to start your meeting about 15 minutes early because you want to get your microphone and your camera set up, make sure your presentation is ready and you're doing a run through with the audio, getting a feel for it. Well, maybe there's attendees that like to join early and all of a sudden they're in your meeting. Well, you got to stop short and go, oh, okay, I better just not do anything else because people are seeing my screen. Well, you can avoid that by making everybody go through the lobby. So if you choose, let's see, only me from this dropdown, who can bypass the lobby? Only me. That means that everybody who's joining your meeting is going to be placed in a virtual lobby. They're going to wait there. They're not going to see anything of the presentation. They're not going to hear you. They're not even going to hear or see other people in the meeting that have joined as well. What you will get, though, is a little pop-up on your screen that looks like this. Lisa joined the meeting early, so she's waiting in the lobby. So I have a choice to admit her now or just ignore it, or I can view the lobby and see who else is waiting. And as people start joining the meeting, they're going to be in the lobby. At the point where you are ready to start your meeting, and you want everybody to come on in. You open the door, open the floodgates. This is what you see when you click on View Lobby, and you can admit each person one by one, or you can just simply click Admit All. And now your meeting can commence. So that's the lobby, the virtual lobby. So this allows you to control who can bypass that lobby. This is extremely important if you are setting up a meeting for someone else. If you have, let's say, an attorney who says, yeah, go ahead and set up a Teams meeting with all the clients and a couple of the attorneys here. We want to meet tomorrow at lunch. Great, you can set up the meeting, but you have to make sure that you check this box right here. Whoop, let me go back to what the default setting is. This box right here. Always let callers bypass the lobby, and also everyone can bypass. Actually, it grays this out, so either one is fine. This allows people to join the meeting without having to go through the lobby first. That way, you as the organizer don't have to join the meeting to admit people into the meeting. The person you're setting up the meeting for is not going to see the admit or view lobby option. Only the organizer will see that. So you have to make sure that everyone can bypass that lobby so you don't run into that difficulty. Then we've got this little button right here. How can you stop that annoying announcement every time someone joins and leaves the meeting? If you leave this checked and you have 100 people in your meeting, how many do we have in this meeting? About 44? Yeah, if I got 44 people coming into my meeting and they come and go as they please, you're going to hear in your headphones or on the phone, John Smith has joined the meeting. Terry Arrett has left the meeting. Mary Doe has joined the meeting. You're going to hear that over and over and over in your head, and it's going to really distract you from your presentation. So you can uncheck that so that you don't hear the announcement when callers join or leave. Trust me, you're going to want to use that. Then who can present? You can give people permission to present. Maybe you have multiple people who are going to present a 20-minute presentation. You can choose those people from this list. Now there's a bunch of different options here. You can choose everyone, give everyone the ability to take over and join and show content, or only you, which will lock out the share feature for everyone else in the meeting except you. What I like to use though is specific people, because right now I've invited Lisa, Kim, and Walter, Diane, and a couple of other people to my meeting. If I want to select specific presenters for this meeting, it's going to look in these fields, both required and optional attendees, and it's going to show me all of the people in my organization. And I can choose whether I want Lisa and Kim to present, or both, maybe Walter or Diane. You notice that the outside participants are not listed there. That's because it can't allow that from outside your organization. So it only shows you internal people. Now, outside participants can present, but again, only if they have the full-blown version of Teams, Office 365 licensed. By the way, did you see the article that Microsoft is now offering Microsoft Teams for free for residential customers? There's a lot of limitations to it though, but you can look online, you'll see that Microsoft Teams is available for free, but there's a limit. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and select myself to present, not anyone else. So I've locked that down. You can also allow microphones for attendees. Maybe you want to shut them all up, just say, nope, nobody's going to talk. Or maybe allow them to be on camera. And also the newest feature, which occurred right after I went on vacation, this was brand new, record automatically. Now, some of the features in Microsoft Teams may be controlled by your IT department. So some of the features you see today are unlocked because I'm a trainer and I need to have all these features, but you may go back in your Teams environment and you might find that some of these features are not available. That's when you have to call your IT department and find out if it's a feature you can have available to you. Then at the bottom, do you want to allow chat in your meeting? Some people do, some people don't. Maybe you get distracted by seeing the conversation on the right side while you're presenting. Maybe you don't want side chatter while the presentation is on because you want them to focus on your presentation alone. You can disable that if you'd like. And then finally, allowing reactions. I always allow reactions, and I'm going to show you why when we actually join the meeting. So I'm going to save those settings. It's important to note also that the settings that I'm setting for this particular meeting do not carry over to future meetings. I wish they would give a button down here that says allow this, make it a template or something. Because if you want the same settings to be changed for every meeting, you are, for now, going to have to change them for each and every meeting. It's no big deal though. It takes literally 30 seconds to get this done. And then close out your settings, you're all done. Now, if you forget to set up your settings before your meeting, you've already hit the send button, for instance, that's okay, because you can set up your settings from Teams. You can also do it from inside your meeting as it's going on. So don't worry if you forgot, you can do it later. Okay, at this point, I would normally click send, but I'm not going to do it because I don't want these people to say that, what meeting is this you invited me to? Don't you know I have a busy calendar already? All right, but what I did create is a meeting off to the right here. That was a Teams meeting. I put it in purple so I could differentiate it from the others to demonstrate what you can do if you forgot to set up your meeting options ahead of time. So I'm just going to double click on the meeting that's set for Friday at noon. And when I double click on it, you can see settings, meeting options, they're right there. So I can go ahead and set that up beforehand and even during the meeting. We're going to actually go into a meeting in a moment, and you're going to see where to do that as well. So look at that. We're learning Microsoft Teams, but we haven't even gone into Teams yet. You can do all of that from Outlook. Ain't that something? All right, so now I'm going to bring up Teams, and I'm going to go into the calendar, and what you'll see is all of my appointments from my Outlook calendar are synchronized into the Teams calendar. You may know that already, but I just wanted to reiterate for those who don't. If you put an appointment in your Outlook calendar, it appears in your Teams calendar and vice versa. So if you wanted to create a Teams invitation, a Teams meeting invite in Microsoft Teams, you'll do it up here. Either click New Meeting, or they've added a new feature here, a couple of them actually. We don't have time to do it today, but there's an option to actually schedule a webinar. And one of the differences between a meeting and a webinar is that a meeting, people are just going to accept the meeting invitation. But a webinar forces people to register first before they join, just like you did for this meeting. Some of you maybe had to register before you joined, put in your name, your email address, and so forth. That's what the webinar option allows you to do. But I'm going to go ahead and hit schedule a meeting. And there we go. It's the same thing, just looks a little different. You put in your title. There we go. Your required attendees or optional attendees. I'll just put in a few here. What I like about the Teams environment and the fact that it's synchronized to your calendar is the fact that you can use the scheduling assistant to, let me find somebody who's busy. There we go, to find out who's busy and who's not. So for example, I want a lunch meeting today at 2:30 to 3. Well, it's coming up in about 5 minutes. Let me change the date to Friday at 12 to 1. And look at that, everybody's free. But if you put in somebody who's not free, let me go back to today's date because I want to show you what happens when people are busy. Look at that. Am I going to spend the next half hour trying to figure out when Lisa's free and Kim is free and Walter and David? No, you're not going to need to do that. You're going to go up here and you go to the scheduling assistant right at the top. Because Teams is synchronized with my Outlook, all I got to do is hit the scheduling assistant and check it out. I can see everybody's calendar when they're busy and when they're free. Teams also gives you suggestions right up here. It's looking at this time where everybody's free. Well, that's a little late for a lunch meeting, but for time's sake, I'm going to go ahead and click it anyway. And now it automatically changed my meeting to that suggested time. Pretty cool, right? Go back to details and I'll continue filling out my Teams invitation. If it repeats, you can put in a recurring meeting. If it's a monthly, weekly, or whatever recurring meeting you want, you can add it to a channel. This is one of the things that I can easily branch off and get sidetracked so quickly and tell you what a channel is, how to use a channel, the content of a channel. Don't worry about that right now. We don't have time, but just know that if you do pick a channel, if you are a member of a team within Teams and you pick a channel, the meeting is going to be recorded in that channel. So it'll be available if you choose to record the meeting, you'll be able to download the recording for yourself. All right, and then the location and the details. Now I know that in the Outlook Teams meeting, we did have the automatic link and the phone number and the code and all that. You don't see it, but trust me, it'll be there. It actually will send it out. You just don't see it in the meeting invitation. You can put in whatever other details you want, bring your own drinks, non-alcoholic, of course, no. So, and it would put the invitation and the links and the phone number and the access code, find local numbers, the reset pin link in the actual invitation in the body of it. Okay, so that's how you do a meeting within Microsoft Teams. I'm not going to send it. As I said before, I don't want people yelling at me, so I'm just going to discard that meeting. All right. Now, if you do have any questions about the meeting information that we're doing right now, we're just about halfway done. Please wait until the end. We'll be more than happy to answer any questions you might have. I know some of you probably have questions on deck. That's great. I love questions. I try to answer them as best as I can. But I want to go into now showing you what you can do to preview your device settings before you go into your meeting. Some of you might have new equipment. Maybe you just got a new headset, a new microphone, USB microphone, or maybe you have a camera you want to try out, see how you look. You don't have to wait until the beginning of your meeting to mess around with your settings. You can do two things. You can change your device settings ahead of time, and you can also do a test meeting with yourself to see how everything looks and how everything sounds. So first, let me show you the little three dots at the top right corner. This is another thing that Microsoft Teams moved. You used to click on your profile picture up here, but they changed it and they made it the three dots to the left. So click the three dots and you're going to go to settings right here. This is going to open up your Microsoft Teams settings, all the features that you may have played with a little bit, changing your color scheme for your Microsoft Teams, your notifications. I want to focus on devices though. Devices is where you can control your audio and your video devices. So right now I'm using a headset called the MPOW HC6. I have no idea what that means, but it's my headset that you're hearing me now on the computer. If I change that to my PC, it's going to sound horrible, but I do have the ability to do that. Your speakers, maybe you have a new set of speakers and the computer doesn't quite, or Microsoft Teams doesn't quite see them yet, change it. And you can hear the audio through those speakers. Microsoft Teams will remember the settings that you've changed to and remember it for all of your future meetings as long as your equipment is still connected. Now, the best part, making a test call. Now, I usually do this for our Nelson Mullins people inside the firm so you can hear what it sounds like, but I'm not sure you're going to be able to hear my audio from my computer. But what this allows you to do, I'm going to go ahead and just click on it, whether you can hear it or not. And what it's doing,
to test your call quality,
it's going to ask me to record a short message.
Then your message will be played back.
And there's my little picture in the bottom right. Hello, this is Dan. I'm testing my Teams audio to make sure that people can hear me. Hello, and it's playing it back. This is Dan. I'm testing my Teams audio. There you go. And if it sounds good to you, you just hang up and you are 100% confident that all of your settings will be correct when you start your meeting. So that make a test call, really helpful, especially if you're worried about audio and quality. Now at the bottom, hello everyone. There's my calendar, my camera. You're able to see how your camera looks. If you like the way you look, that's great. Every time I do a webinar, I've got to close these blinds because it's way too bright. So my face looks black, dark, you can't see me. So I close the blinds. And I tested that before we started this meeting to make sure that I looked my best right here. There you go. So that's how you can see your settings before you start your meeting. Now I know that's a tiny little window and you want to be able to see yourself on a larger window, how other people are going to see you. And we're going to show you how to do that now. So this is how you change your device settings before your meeting begins. Now, I mentioned that you can create a meeting with yourself and do a little test to make sure everything is going to work during your meeting. And that's where this button comes into play. Meet now, right there. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and click on that and give it a name. I'll just call this test meeting with me and start the meeting right away. Now it's not inviting anybody else. Nobody else is getting an invitation. Nobody else is getting a pop-up. This is just a meeting for me. So I can see exactly how things are going to look and sound during my meeting. So here we go. I can change the meeting title if I want to. Down at the bottom, I can see my camera. It's a much larger picture. So if I don't like the camera on, I can just switch it off. All right. But you can also use these background filters. Everybody loves these background filters. So let me just get this out of the way. It's fun. So if you don't want to see the background, you don't want to see my window, my messy desk, and the snacks, and my baby Yoda's up there. Hey guys, you can change the filter. So if I go to background filter and choose blur, hey, look at that. You're focused on the presenter. Now, usually if you have headphones, it doesn't quite do it correctly. You know, it's kind of fading in and out. My hand will disappear. Yeah, so you can blur your background or use any of these nice little background rooms that Teams comes with. You can use this room. You can go to this room. As I said, it's not really quite working with the headset. You can also upload your own photos. You can download them from the internet as long as they're the right format. So I did that just to demonstrate. So if I wanted to be part of the Brady Bunch, yeah, the next member of the Brady Bunch, I can fly with Chewbacca. You gonna fly this thing, or are we just gonna sit here? Okay. Or I can be on the set of Seinfeld. Where's my Seinfeld? I think it's down here. Here we go. Kramer's gonna come walking through that door any minute now. So you can have a little fun with that, little wanted poster. So you can have fun with the background settings if you want to. I'm gonna turn mine off and go back to a more professional environment. All right, so that's the background filters that you can have fun with. Then you have your audio features. Right now, I'm using my computer audio because this is a USB headset. It's connected to my laptop. It has audio for my headset and for the microphone. If I want to mute myself, I could turn that off. This is also an option where you can use the phone for your audio. If you want to call a number to dial into your meeting, it'll give you the number. But look at this. We can call you. What you do is you put in your phone number and it calls you immediately after you submit your phone number, and you're in the meeting just like that. No access code needed. So that's a nice feature, especially if you're in an office or a client site where they've got a phone that's locked down, you can't make a phone call, or you don't know the proper buttons to hit to make a phone call, to call out, have it call you. As long as you know the phone number of that telephone, or gee, even use your phone, your iPhone or Android. So that's an option for you. So this is great. I can see myself. I make sure that my computer audio is going to be used. And if you want to test your audio, you'll go ahead and use the make a test call feature that I showed you in the settings. And that's how you can preview yourself before the meeting begins. Okay, now let me do that again. I'm going to meet now, start a meeting. I've tested all my equipment. Everything looks good. And I'm going to go ahead and join the meeting. Again, it's just a meeting with me. So I can actually copy the meeting link if I want to paste it into an email that I've already composed, or I can add participants within the firm or phone numbers of people outside the firm if I want to. It's blocking my face. That's not very nice. But I'm not going to do any of these. I'm just going to go ahead and close that. I'm in the meeting. Even better, I can see my camera in a huge screen, so I can see what they're going to see when everybody joins. I'm going to make this a little larger here so y'all can see the features here. The last thing we're going to cover today is this little toolbar right up here, the very top where all of these buttons are. There's a few things that you may already know, but I want to make sure you know everything about that toolbar so you're able to take advantage of all the features that are available. First, viewing the participants. There you go. You want to see who's joined the meeting, who's left the meeting, click this button. There we go. You can still share the invitation with other people that you want to send an invite to, or you can dial their number. This is a cool feature, but again, this is something that your IT department has to check on. And if the dialing of a phone number doesn't work, that just means that it's not tied into the telephone PBX system. But we've got that feature enabled. So I'm going to call my cell phone here. So if I just put in my 407-929-7125, please don't spam me. I'm going to go ahead and add my phone number and watch my phone. It's calling me. So I could join the meeting, just accepted it, and now I can listen to the meeting in progress.
Unknown participant is now joining.
And I didn't turn off the announcement.
Unknown participant
So
is now exiting.
you may not be able to hear that, but I heard in my ear, unknown participant has now joined, and then unknown participant has left the meeting. Very distracting. So I always remember to turn that off. except for this meeting. So that's how you can view the participants, who is in the meeting and who's not. Now, if you enable the chat feature of your meeting, you can click on the chat bubble here, and you'll be able to see the chat features. People can send emoticons, they can send animated graphics, they can attach files, and they can have a conversation during your presentation. That's the chat feature. Then you have the reactions. I always recommend this because it allows people to be interactive with your presentation. You're not just a talking head. They're not just watching a presentation. You want them to be part of the act, part of the presentation. So you can tell people, hey, if you like something that I said, give me applause. If you find one of my jokes are funny, go ahead and laugh at it. If you have a question during the meeting, please raise your hand. If you loved anything, just give me a heart and a thumbs up if I ask for feedback. So this is good if you want to start out the meeting by saying, if you can hear me and everything looks good, please give me a thumbs up. And you tell them how to get to the reactions button, give a thumbs up, and you will see that. It's an animated, very brief animated graphic of whatever icon that they chose to click on. So reactions help, especially in these days of working remotely with COVID going on, the second wave most likely approaching. This is a great way to keep people involved. Integrate them into the presentation by helping them react. Another feature, which we could spend a half hour on this one, is breakout rooms. Wow, this was something that I really had to learn myself because it was complicated. As the organizer, it gets a little more complicated because it allows you to send a bunch of people from your meeting into a room, send another group of people into a different room, another group of people into a different room, and have them work on projects or do team building exercises or come up with ideas. And you as the organizer can eavesdrop on every one of those rooms. When you choose to do a breakout room, only the people in that room can see and hear each other, and they've completely ignored everybody else. They can't see or hear them until such time that you decide as the organizer to bring everybody back. And while your attendees are in the breakout rooms, you can send them messages. Hey guys, 30 seconds and we're going to come back into our meeting. Or, hey guys, great work. I'll give you 5 more minutes and then we'll reconvene. So you can send messages to those rooms as the organizer. So that is something, I actually do have a quick reference guide on how to use the breakout rooms. So if you're interested in that, I guess you can contact Terry or anyone at Savvy and I'll be happy to share that with you at a small minimal fee of $24.95. I'm kidding. I'll be happy to share that with you. Anyone who wants it, free of charge. All right, so then you have the simple buttons where you can mute your video. Bye. See, can't see me anymore. You can also mute your microphone. Over here, you have more actions. They added a few of these actions over the past couple of weeks, and I just want to talk about a few of them. Remember those device settings that you saw back when we were in the main Teams window? You can check your device settings directly from here. So you don't have to wait until before the meeting, and if something's going wrong, you can check your device settings from here. If you're working from home and you have a pretty bad internet or something's going on with your internet, you can check your call health by using this button. This tells you how your speed is. A lot of this is like network traffic. You might not understand it all, but you can see at the top, your call is receiving data. Where's the good stuff? I think towards the bottom. Well, it doesn't really give me anything useful here, but it will tell you if there's problems, if there's network congestion on your system, it'll give you an error message there. Then under here, you can take notes if you wanted to. Those notes are saved in the meeting. So if you do decide to record the meeting, the notes are saved in it as well. If you set up the meeting, remember when I showed you how to create a Teams meeting from within Teams, you could select a channel. If you're a member of a team that has a channel, the notes are available to everyone who is a member of that channel, and they can download it. Really comes in handy for people that miss the meeting and want to come back and look at the notes. So I always recommend having a notes taker during your meeting in case it's something important they need to see later. There's your background effects if you want to change it during your meeting. Live captions. This is awesome. I couldn't believe this and how accurate it actually is. I'm going to turn it on to show you what it does. What it's going to do is turn on a feature where everything that I say is going to be transcribed at the bottom of the screen. Watch this. Spoken language is English, so it's going to translate everything I say into English. It's going to be extremely accurate. I can talk as fast as I want. It's still going to transcribe everything I say. I'm going to talk as fast as I can, but I can't really say things that are really fast because my brain can't function that quickly, especially now that I'm 50. All right, so there we go. It's transcribing everything that I'm saying, and it's pretty darn accurate. So again, that is also in the recording if you decide to record your presentation. So I'm going to turn that off. Go down here and turn off live captions from here. Bye-bye. Okay, and the final thing is start recording. Again, this is a feature that we have turned on for a few people in the firm, not everyone, but if you don't see this option or if it's grayed out, talk to someone on your IT team and hopefully they can get that enabled for you. And finally, sharing options. How do you share content like we're doing right now? You can see my entire screen, and that's through GoToMeeting. But with Teams, if I share content by clicking this button, there are 4 main ways to share content. And I want to go over those real quick with you guys now. First of all, your entire screen. This is great because you'll see every attendee is going to see everything that goes on your screen. But you may not want them to see all of your email notifications that you get in your inbox or your Teams chat messages that pop up. Or if you drag a window across into the screen, they're going to see that too. So there's a give and take. If you want to share your screen, like I'm not worried. I don't get any confidential information, so I don't care if you see my email pop-ups. I've actually turned that off, but you can see everything that goes on my screen. If you don't want to share your entire screen, you can share just a window that you have open. For example, I'll click on window and look, everything that I've currently opened on my computer is listed here. If I wanted you only to be able to view a Word document or the PDF that I showed you earlier, they will only be able to see that application. That's it. If anything else pops up on top of that window, sorry, they can't see it. Your email notification, you get a phone call that pops up, you get a Teams chat message, nothing. It's just going to be invisible to everyone else. Even if you take a window and drag it all the way on top of the PDF or the Word file, that's okay. They can see that document, but not the window that you dragged on top of it. So that's a way you can be more secure if you're worried about everything on your screen being shared. Third way to share is a whiteboard. I like this. It takes a while to load, but I'll go ahead and do it anyway. What this allows you to do is have not just you, but everybody who's in the meeting draw. You can do tic-tac-toe, you can do a flow chart, you can brainstorm, have ideas, draw boxes, circles. It's very limited as far as the drawing tools are concerned, but it does allow you to do that. If you have a need for having to have a whiteboard, Microsoft Teams has that ability. You can erase, you can highlight, enter text, put a Post-it note on there, add a shape. And when you're done, if you want to save that image that everybody's collaborated on, you go to the little gear icon on the top right, the settings menu, and export it as a PNG. If you only want yourself to draw, turn this off, and nobody else can draw except you. That's a great way to keep control and not have people start fooling around and messing up your drawing. Okay, so that's the third way to share. Fourth and final way to share is, of course, PowerPoint. If I want to share a PowerPoint presentation, maybe I want to share I wonder if this still works, my Christmas Memories intro PowerPoint that's on my hard drive. I used this once before to present, so Teams remembered that and it left it in the list. But you saw that you can browse for a PowerPoint presentation if you wanted to. So it's loading the PowerPoint. When it does, it's going to show you on the presenter side that the presentation is showing and all the slides that are going to be coming up as well. You can switch from slide to slide during your presentation. And here's the thing that you really need to know about PowerPoint presentations. Microsoft Teams has given attendees the ability to fast forward and rewind in a PowerPoint. So if you have a 25 slide presentation and you're showing it to people and you're sharing it this way, they can literally click these little buttons down here, these navigation arrows. Attendees are going to see that, and they can literally look at all your slides before your presentation even begins. Want to avoid that? I'll show you. Right up here, this little eyeball up at the top is how you turn that off. So if I click this eyeball, it's going to have a slash through it. Now, I'm the one that controls the presentation, and nobody else can fast forward through my slides. All right. So that's one of the things PowerPoint that you should be aware of, is that it does allow attendees to have control of the PowerPoint, not just you. Okay. And yes, Christmas Memories is available on iTunes and Amazon Music. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and leave. I'm going to stop presenting. There we go. And I'm back. And that's it, folks. That is all of the tools that you need to know to have a successful Microsoft Teams meeting, whether it's just audio or video, whether you're presenting, you're not presenting, whether it's people inside your firm or outside the firm, it doesn't matter. Microsoft Teams is the way to go. So thank you all very, very much for your time. I hope this was very beneficial. I ended right at the point where I wanted to come, ending at 2:45 to leave time for questions. So remember that the handout is available to you in the chat. And also, if you want that Breakout Rooms handout, I just finished that a couple of months ago. I can send that to you upon request. And go forth and conquer. Thank you, guys. I appreciate your time. So if there's any questions, feel free. Let's bring it on.
I'm Dan, it's Katie now from Savvy. I'm taking over for Terry, and that was phenomenal. Thank you. We do have a question. Someone asked for the meeting invite. Is it possible to see the free/busy time of people outside the firm? So possibly by being on the same channel.
If they are, okay, that's a two-part question, because in Microsoft Teams, your IT organization can invite outside participants to be a member of an internal team. If they are, I don't know for 100% sure if you're going to be able to see their free or busy schedule. I haven't tried that because I don't actually have anybody who's a member of an outside participant, a member of one of our internal teams. Looking for a team that I'm a member of that I might find outside participant. Yeah, these are all internal people. Wow, 91 people in this one. Yeah, these are all internal. I can't say for sure. I have to research that and find out if that is, in fact, a possibility. I want to say yes, because if they're a member of Microsoft Teams, Teams is synchronized to your Outlook calendar, in my mind, it should, but not 100% sure on that. Good question, though.
We have another one. Someone asked, they said, when I sign into a Teams meeting through my Outlook calendar, I'm able to change my background. However, when I open the Teams calendar and start or join a meeting, I don't see the background options.
Oh, let's do it right now. This is a Teams meeting on the right. You guys can still see my screen, I think, right? Yeah. So if I go to this meeting, I'm going to join it. You can do it right here. Or if you join the meeting, what you need to do is go to the top in the little options, more actions menu, and choose your background effects right there. Is that what they were asking?
I believe so. Yeah, that's how I'm reading it. But let us know. Put it in the chat, Jody, if it's not. And then I will move on to another question that just came in. Oh, go ahead, Dan.
No, I was just I noticed a new background that I hadn't seen before.
Oh, she said that was what she's looking for, but she still doesn't see the option. So maybe it's an internal system thing.
Yes, they might have locked it out. Yep, because there is an administrative console that blocks a lot of the features, and maybe they just didn't want people messing around with that kind of thing.
Gotcha. Someone said you mentioned using the telephone number to invite individuals outside the organization. Can they also be invited using their email address?
It depends on how your IT organization has set it up. You can try it, but I didn't see a way to do that on our system. So if you can, let me join this meeting again. If I go to participants, invite someone or dial number. I can't put in like my outside email address because it's going to say no matches. Yeah. So again, it's something that it might be restricted by your IT organization. You can try it, but if you get what I'm getting, where it doesn't find any matches, then the answer is no.
Okay. And another question was how to reverse background. She said your wanted background was reversed. They've had
Yeah,
problems with this on Zoom. How do you fix that?
it's backwards to you. So I'm looking at, you're seeing it backwards on my screen because you're looking at me in the organizer window, but the attendees see it regular. iPhone has the same issue. I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, everyone else who is in the meeting will see it normal.
Someone said my Outlook has Skype meeting. Does IT change that to Teams?
Yes. Yep, because we used to have the same thing. We had Skype for Business a while ago, and we got rid of Skype and went to Microsoft Teams. And after that, the Skype meeting disappeared and Teams was the only thing available.
Gotcha. Another one is, are you able to prevent participants from navigating through the PowerPoint slides as you are presenting?
Yeah, I went over that. That is if you are presenting a PowerPoint, when you browse, I'll just do the, I don't know, document services presentation here. There's a little eyeball that you're going to see at the top right here. And it actually tells you when you hover over it, it prevents participants
Hello.
from moving through
This
shared
is an
presentation on their
introduction
own.
to the Document
Oh,
Services Department.
it's
which
actually playing
provides
automatically.
document support to all areas and offices of Nelson
I don't know if you
Mullins.
guys can hear
The
that.
following information will
I'm gonna
guide you
stop
in using
presenting.
our services
Here
for
we go.
document.
So that eyeball will help prevent people from going through the PowerPoint.
Great. I don't see any other questions listed. Maybe we'll give people a minute or so if they want to enter any more in.
Sure. And like I said, the camera icon, the share content, the breakout rooms, the reactions buttons, these could all change next week. They could move them to a different area of the screen. They might make the video screen look different. They might have new backgrounds. They might even change the look of the buttons. It's the way Microsoft likes to keep us on our toes.
I giggled because someone just asked if you have the lawyer cat background.
The lawyer cat, oh, the one where that, I'll promise, Your Honor, I'm not a cat.
Right.
No, I don't have that, thank God, but I do have the office group. What is it doing? There we go. If you're familiar with
That's
the office, there you go.
fantastic.
Jim, what are you doing over there? Yeah. Yeah, that was funny, that story about the cat. Oh, man. I promise, Your
There we
Honor,
go.
I'm not a cat.
Yeah, that doesn't get old. Someone asked, is it possible to see all participants at the same time, similar to Zoom?
When they join, you
Yeah.
should be able to see them, right? Oh, that brings me to another feature that is a little bit new with Microsoft Teams. During a meeting, and I can't do it now because there's no other participants, there's these three options. Right now, you're looking at the gallery where Teams automatically distributes the video screens for each person. Unfortunately, you can't move around the screens, but they also have a large gallery and a together mode. Together mode is really cool. And what it does is it actually gives you the background of a movie theater audience, and each person has their own chair, and Teams tries as best as it can to take, this part of your video up and put it in a chair as if everybody's sitting in the audience and you're together in the audience of a theater. Try it. Next time you're in a meeting, do together mode and see what it does.
Will Teams provide a list of attendees, or do you have to copy the participants list to check attendance after the
Nope.
meeting ends?
That used to be a problem where you'd have to, before you stop the meeting, you had to go to the participants right here, go to the three dots on the top right and download the attendance list, because as soon as you close the meeting, your attendance list is gone. However, they've changed that. If you create the meeting in Microsoft Teams within a channel, I don't think I have one, but in Microsoft Teams, come on. If I go to, I guess, coaches here, I don't think we had a meeting recently, but there's a button inside of the channel that says download attendee list. So it is going to be inside the channel if you create the Teams meeting from within Microsoft Teams.
Can an organizer and or participants copy the chat content?
Oh, somebody else asked that question. Actually, it was a different question, but similar. They wanted to go to chat and print the entire conversation. Unfortunately, no, not that I know of. I mean, I can't even right click and choose print inside the chat window. So that might be in an update later on, who knows? But as of right now, that feature is not available, no. And there's my attendance report, so I can find out who attended this meeting while I'm in the meeting, but as soon as I leave it, it's gone. But if I
Oh,
created
so
the
you
meeting,
can't log in anywhere and find it. Okay,
No.
gotcha.
not that I know of. I mean, if anybody out there has had that ability to get that list after the meeting within a different area, please, I would love to know.
Does the attendance report show how long a person was connected into the meeting?
Yes, in fact, I have an example of an attendance report. I think I still have it. Let me look. Bear with me for a moment. I think I put it on downloads. Here it is. It's a spreadsheet, a CSV file. And it's going to show you when they came in, when they left, and the total amount of time that they were in the meeting.
Great.
There you go. Let me just expand these cells there. So yep, Yvonne Britton, she logged in at 2:23, left at 3:03 for a total of 39 minutes and 20 seconds. That's what it looks like.
Wonderful.
I'm glad I kept that. I almost deleted that.
That was helpful to see. Well, I don't show any other questions as of now, and I know we're getting to time, but if anyone wants to sneak one more in, you got a couple minutes?
32 people are still in there. How do you get my Christmas CD? Did I hear that question? Oh yeah, just go to iTunes or Amazon Music. You'll find it there.
Yeah, I was about to read that question.
Shameless plug, yes.
Just getting some great loved it, thank you. And oh, you know what? Someone did say, I don't see the webinar option for meetings. Is that something we would need installed?
Nope, it's because you have an older version of Teams. It's an automatic update that occurs. So what you're going to do is if you want to see, let me exit my video here. If you want to see what version of Teams that you're running, you go up to the top where it has the, oh, sorry. Wait, no, yeah, it's up there, the three dots, and you're going to go to About and go to Version. And up at the top, you're going to see, like on my screen, the version is 1.4.00.19572, 64-bit version. So check your version. If it's lower than that, that's probably why you don't see that option for scheduling a webinar. Or if you do see that as the current version, then it's an option that your IT department has either disabled or needs to enable for you.
Wonderful. Well, again, just a lot more compliments your way, Dan. Awesome presentation, learned a lot. Thank you. And a lot of other thanks.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Oh, we have one more sneak in.
Go ahead.
Can the breakout room QRS be included in the link? Oh, that's for me.
Oh, sure.
To the recording, please. Yes, I will pass that along to you.
Got it. I'll send it to you. It's going to be, it's custom to Nelson Mullins, so it's going to have the Nelson Mullins logo in it. Do you want me to clean that up before I send it to you, or do you guys want to do that yourselves?
We'll clean it. You can
Okay.
send it, and yeah.
I'll send it. I'll bring it up on my screen so I don't forget when we disconnect.
Wonderful. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate your time. Hopefully you learned a lot. And now it's time to create your own Teams meeting with confidence.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.